Is this crypto crash done, or are there going to be aftershocks? Why did this happen? And what's going to happen next? Those are the things that we're going to cover in this video. I'm Joanna Garzilli. This is Crypto Angel Network. Thank you for subscribing to the channel, for lighting up the bell to get my notifications on my crypto journey. And my hope is that as I share my lessons, my insights, what I'm doing, that you can gain some clarity on what is working for you, what isn't working for you, and why. Let me just also say that anything I share here is just my speculation, my personal opinion based on my research, my gut instinct, and not investment advice. With that being said, let's get into things. I'm going to go ahead and take a moment to share my screen. I'm just going to share from my coin tracker here. This is just more of an overview of where things are at, because what people have said to me since I've had my channel is, Joanna, we appreciate that you actually show us what's going on. I show the ups and I show the downs. And I got to tell you, I don't feel down right now. I don't feel despondent with things. There was a period last year where I was in the Washington Post recently on an article on crypto addiction. And at that period of time when the markets pumped and then they crashed, I didn't sell, I held on. I felt really, really scared with things. It was very, very unnerving. But my gain, even when I had what it said in the article, in the original article that was printed, that I had tens of thousands of losses in that crash, that was of unrealized profits. Even when I had those losses, I was still up 96%. When things were at the top of the market, I was at 275% in profit. And I believe that those times are going to come again. So I'm going to share with you afterwards specifically what I am looking to do. That doesn't mean don't do what I do necessarily. You got to do your own due diligence. I'm just telling you from now, having studied blockchain, from being obsessed with reading the charts and looking at things on a geopolitical level, what I foresee and what my strategy is going to be. So right now you can see that it's, if we go back here to back here, right, you can see my portfolio May the 11th, 2021. Where are we? We're May the 9th right now. So we're back, it's a year later. Wow, this is so wild. And you can see right then at that point, my portfolio, I was at $128,000. I put in almost 32,000 and I had a return there due of 96,000. If I'd known I was at the top now at the time, I mean, looking at this back in hindsight, right, it's so easy to say like, oh, well, why didn't you get up as the top? We didn't know it was the top. A lot of us were having conversations on here where everything was going parabolic and we thought it was going to keep going up. But let me just tell you, and this is why, with this crypto addiction thing, was I felt really unsettled. When I would go to sleep at night, I would feel it was very, very, very unnerving. It was scary because something felt uncomfortable to me. And now I know why. It was because the market was about to drop off a cliff. But you can see there, my returns at that point, if I had taken profits, would have been 301%. Yes, I would have been up over 300%. And how can you get those type of gains in the stock market in such a short period of time, right? Look at this. I mean, from here, right back in April, I mean, that was less than a month. I could have had 300% gains there on my portfolio across the board. But what happened there from things being at the top here, 128K, and then suddenly, boom, down we went. And I remember it was, the crash comes. I remember Ivan Lindquist, who has this channel, Ivan on Tech. He talked about this back in January 2021. He said when a crash comes, like it goes down fast. But I got to tell you, when it happens fast, but it's sort of like slow motion as it's fast. And you just can't really understand what it's like. It doesn't matter what anyone tells you. It'll help you understand. You'll hear it, but you'll be like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And I get that. You just won't know until you go through it. But at least then maybe if you're hearing what I'm saying here, or you hear other people's experiences of what they've had going through different market cycles, you will, as then when you do go through this stuff and experience yourself, it will help give another level of depth or insight for yourself to know how to handle things next time as you gain more experience. And so you can see here then, you know, when the Washington Post said, oh, I lost all this money. Yeah, I mean, gosh, I mean, wow, 64,000, where was it, 128,000. That's a lot. Like, that's a big difference, isn't it? I mean, 60, what's that, 70, 80, 90, 100. What, I can't even do my math here. It's what, it's like 60 grand or something difference. But I didn't sell. Like, I just held on through it. And I'll just tell you, in that period where it went like this, I felt depressed. Felt very, very unnerving. That euphoria, where everyone's like, oh, to the moon, oh, everything's great. Wow, it was intense. And then I decided, as the market came back, and I was up here, and I didn't get back to that 300% gain, but well, it was 160 gains, and I went, okay, that's it. Taking my money out, going to the sidelines. And so I went to the sidelines. We bought the home that we have now, which I absolutely love. Just absolutely, it's fantastic. And I'm very grateful that crypto was definitely a part of contributing to that, besides us earning as well. But, you know, I was doing a lot of trading last year. That was one of my ways that I was earning. But I'm not doing that now because I work at Directed IRA in crypto business development. Now, then back here, you can see, like, at the end of December, where we're at here, then in the new year in 2022, I decided to allocate and go back in, but with more of having everything that I learned. I've been learning within taxation and crypto taxation. I went, I don't want to pay those short-term capital gains taxes. Why would I go and do that? And so I changed my trading outlook, and I focused on more a longer term holding, unless what some people do in their IRAs is they'll do bulk trading, they'll do swing trading, and that, so long as you're doing it in the IRA, it does not create a taxable event, which is phenomenal. So that's a really cool strategy. And but unfortunately, you know, I was feeling a little bit edgy in January. I felt like, oh, well, maybe everything's going to go up more. There's going to be, we didn't have that pump in December 2021. Maybe we're going to instead have that blow off top in February, but sort of March, and then go into the bear market. So I went in January, and now looking back in hindsight, I wish I hadn't. I wish I was going in sort of now, or in the next sort of 2-3 months. And so how can one really know? How does one know? So I didn't go in at the top. I went in, and like around when Bitcoin was went back to that sort of 67,500, I went back in at around an average around where Bitcoin was around 40,000, just over 40,000. And so what that price point, yeah, again, all the other alts that were there with that. So I'm definitely, you're going to see from my portfolio, which I'm going to show you in a sec, I'm absolutely upside down right now, but I'm not freaking out. I'm not worried. And you can just see, like, look where I'm at right now, May the 9th, it says 8% returns. Well, probably in the next couple of months, I think as we move into the summer, that there's a good chance that I could be negative. I mean, it could be negative in terms of my returns. But again, as I said before, I don't margin, I don't leverage. So as long as I don't sell, I still hold my different tokens. I believe that the markets will revive. But what I do think is very, very important, and this is something I thought about in January, the way that I pick my tokens, the way I picked them was that I said, what do I think this particular token is going to be here 5 years from now, or 10 years from now? What is the utility? What is the use case here? What are the regulations that are coming? And that was how I made my decisions. And then I took a little bit of risk there as well. Now you can't see everything that I have because you're not going to be able to see my IRA on there, but in my IRA, I have Terra Luna. When I do my contribution to my crypto Roth IRA with directed IRA, if you want to get an IRA, definitely reach out to me, and I would love to hook you up with that. But what I was going to say with that is that what I'm looking to do now, because of this particular market, I feel like I just don't want to take the risk. I'm not going to be bot trading or day trading in my IRA. I am, because I don't have the IRA LLC checkbook control. I just have that the crypto Roth IRA on Gemini Active Trader, and so I'm probably going to go mostly Bitcoin, probably 75% Bitcoin, maybe all Bitcoin, or 75% Bitcoin and a quarter Ethereum. Maybe just throw something else that's small. But I'm probably just going to stick with those because I just don't have to deal with it. And I just want to look at like, okay, so 10, 15 years from now, where's that going to be at? I feel very, very confident and about that. And I will be very happy not to have to pay any tax on the profits that I make. So if I think everyone hears a lot of negative sentiment out there and just sees, it's scary. Like I definitely feel the price is going to go quite a bit lower, and I'll talk a bit more about that in a moment. That just not to buy into the FUD with things. Just remember, on-chain data is showing that smart money, it's a wealth transfer. It's a massive wealth transfer that is occurring. So the key things that I hold, everything's heavily upside down. It's horrible. It's just like absolutely ghastly. But yeah, I think it's going to go quite a bit lower. These numbers that you see here, there's some stuff that I have in Earn as well that's not going to show up in here. So again, you can't see the entirety of my assets, but I think where I'm at 46.5, probably these numbers are going to go quite a bit lower, and I am prepared for that. And so why do I think that? It's what I've noticed is that in particular since last spring 2021, when more and more Wall Street started to go like, okay, we're going to go into crypto now, and why is crypto still going to be around here in 10 years, and why is everything going to revive when this Bitcoin halving happens in 2024? I believe is because we are in a transition and we are moving totally towards digital finance. And so with that being said, our entire banking systems are evolving, they are changing. And so with that, I believe it's still going to be here. This isn't just like something of, crypto, it's going to be here and gone. I just don't believe that. But I do think that certain crypto will, some of them are not going to fare well. I got to tell you, and unfortunately, some people aren't going to like this. I was a holder of Cardano ADA, but I do not, I've heard some people say, oh, it's going to go to $400. And right now it's everything's tanking. But I just feel like, and maybe this is just more of a gut instinct thing, but I would just, if you're new to crypto, I would just be really, really, really cautious. Again, if someone's a Cardano holder or they're, really involved in it, I don't mean to offend you in any way. There's something that I feel like, gosh, is Cardano really going to take off and be strong when everything does revive? I don't think so. I'm ultra, but Polkadot, yes, you can see here I hold Polkadot, and I feel like whether the offshoot of the co-founders of Ethereum, right, Charles Hoskinson went with doing with Cardano, and Gavin Wood were doing Polkadot. I feel like Polkadot is going to be the ecosystem that thrives. I could be totally wrong. You let me know in the comments. I'm open to hearing your thoughts on why Cardano will do great on the long run. I just, like, when Charles Hoskins went out to Africa and there was that whole launch thing, and then the markets felt so manipulated, and I just, something that just in a gut instinct, I just don't trust it. I just don't feel good about it. I can't exactly put my finger on it, but anyway, that's just how I feel. My feeling, my speculation. Ethereum, I love, and Ethereum is going to be here, I believe, obviously for the long term, because it's a layer one solution. It powers so much of what exists within the metaverse and NFTs, minting NFTs, moving transactions from one wallet to another, from one exchange to another. It is the power of the blockchain. I mean, it powers the blockchain. So obviously Ethereum, Bitcoin. Now, I went most heavily into Polyswarm NCT, which is cyber security. And wow, it's down a lot right now. I mean, my average buy on that ended up being around 10 cents. I was buying it on the way down. And if I see it go back to its pre-levels of right before it went on Coinbase, below a cent, I'm going to go and buy a whole load more of it, because I think what Polyswarm has and that team is incredible. And I mean, just their smart contract, that creating these bug bounties to be able to go, and where in a way you could say it's outsourced, where it's like a free open market, that if you want to go and get those bug bounties for finding cyber attacks, and they're doing a lot of incredible things. So, you know, with Polyswarm, I look at it and I go, wow, this is really a company, and it has a very, very strong use case. And the company existed before going into the crypto space for, I think, around 15 years. It's a veteran team, and people who've been in cybersecurity for well over 20 years. So I am extremely bullish on Polyswarm. You know, it's uncomfortable, I got to tell you, being in there when something has pumped all the way to 17.5 cents and I could have taken profits and I didn't, and then just watching it decline. And yeah, I think everything's going to go quite a bit lower. Yeah, I sort of wish I'd held out. I have some money on the sidelines right now, and I'm just waiting. I cannot. Polygon, I initially went into when it was 9 cents. I remember when it went up to close to $3, and seeing it go down to right now, it's at 83 cents. Oh my gosh. I mean, with what is happening right now, because, and I really feel a lot of this came from Evergrande and US dollar tether. They say they didn't have all these, you know, part of how they were like meant to be pegged was with actually with commercial notes, but these notes I think were bad debt, and a lot of that was tied out to real estate deals and to Evergrande, a number of other firms out in Asia. And so we are starting to feel those ripple effects of what is happening out in Asia. Again, just my thoughts here, you let me know what you think. And so with that, just seeing now that we are starting to see the effects of what's happening in the stock market. But I think, again, a lot of this is going where these bubbles, you know, a number of people have been talking about these bubbles popping for over a year, from the real estate market to different companies where it was just so much money was printed that isn't backed. You know, I think this goes back to the Fed has printed a ton of stimulus, but it's debt. It's like printing debt. There's no actual asset behind it. And my hope is in the longer run that this will flush things out and be create a healthier correction. Because if you look at, let me see if I can find this here a sec. Let me just go to this. Is this it? Look at this. This is the US debt clock. And it's just like a shocker. You know, our US national debt right now is over 30 trillion. The US federal tax revenue here, what have we got? Is that 4 trillion as well? And you can just see that the debt is absolutely horrific, and this is sort of a useful resource. And then I haven't looked here, we're going to see the world debt clocks here. So this will bring up here, see USA 30 trillion, China not as much, 10.5 trillion, Japan almost 15 trillion, Germany 3 trillion, UK 3 trillion, India just over 2 trillion, France 3.5 trillion, Italy heading towards 4 trillion, Brazil 1.8 trillion, Canada heading towards 2 trillion, and so it goes on. It's just horrific. But again, look at this here. You know, when you look at these public debt to GDP ratio, almost 100%, external debt to GDP ratio, again, almost 95%. So this is a shocker. USA, land of you know, innovation and free markets. I mean, this just, you know, we're meant to be the global reserve currency. How can this sustain like this? I just think this is just totally unrealistic. So more will be revealed. We will see what happens. And you know, so my portfolio is pretty simple. I have, what do I have there? I mean, I have, I think, around 15 different tokens. You know, some in metaverse, some in DeFi, some in you know, we're doing different like chains and interoperability, a little bit in gaming, a little bit in memes, and that's it. You know, I've kept it really simple. What I would say is simple. Now, a friend of mine asked me the other day, okay, not investment advice, if you're new to crypto, what's the best thing to do? And what we talked about, they had shared with me that what they were thinking of doing was doing sort of half Bitcoin, half Ethereum. And I agree. It's like, I feel like you can't go wrong with that. That to me just seems like nice, safe, keep it simple. And because a number of these different cryptos that are in the top 10, I don't know if they're all going to be, like I said, look, Cardano is number 8 in 5 years from now. I do not see it even in the top 20. I'll be very surprised if it's there. So we'll see. And then also with different stable coins coming along. I mean, what? Am I just, oh, okay, let me just see this. Okay, so Tether now. I mean, Tether now, I remember last year, it jumped for around 40 something billion, suddenly another 20 billion were printed. Now we're at 83 billion. So it's like in this past year, getting close to double the amount of Tether. But Tether on their website, you know, they originally said, oh, it's backed dollar for dollar, it's pegged. It's not. They took that off their website. And so I would just say be really careful when you're doing different trading pairs that only give you the option to trade for that pair with US dollar Tether. I did it a lot with where I was doing certain meme coins. I got to tell you, where I lost my money was on meme coins. Something else is that Gucci just announced that they are going to start taking payments in Bitcoin and Ethereum, and also in Doge and Shiba Inu. So I feel like, you know, you're going to have a couple of outliers, that those meme coins, that they don't have a market cap, that they have an unlimited supply. But you know, it's like, it's a brand thing. It's just sort of like it's a name. And so Doge and Shiba Inu are sort of like those designer, right? They're like the Gucci, Louis Vuitton of memes. But then there's just going to be a ton of other memes that they're just going to die. They're going to absolutely die. They're not going to be around. So just, if you buy a particular meme or an NFT, do it just because you love it and that you can afford to lose what you got. Just be prepared for that. Because I said last year, I said, well, I'm not going to buy any meme stuff, and I did, and then I didn't take profits, and those are the only tokens I lost money on, were the liquidity pools, that Safe Mars, Safe Moon, and Lion, Pig, Akita. Yeah, so you know, I just try and keep it a little bit conservative there. And so last thing I'm going to say here is just when we, you know, if we just look at Bitcoin as the driver here overall, the fact that we have now, I mean, we bounced, right? We're bouncing off the 30,000 for Bitcoin, but where did we go down to? Yeah, you see it bounced at 30, but I'm telling you, you can see here, this is a very basic chart. I'm not taking you onto a proper chart for technical analysis, but when you look here, we're trending down. I know we're below the moving averages as well. And so what I anticipate is we're going to maybe trade sideways a little bit, where it's going to test right where our our support at around, well, there was hardly any support at 34,000. I mean, our support really was at 40,000, and then there were like those just mini supports. 34th, that probably we're going to trade a bit between 30,000 and 35,000. And if you see, just watch in the next 2-3 days, I would say if you're looking to go in, you're thinking, oh, the market's down, I'm going to go in now. Do what you want to do. But I'm just going to tell you from my experience with this, normally it'll go test 2-3 times, and either it breaks that out or it breaks down. I think because of what is happening globally, because the Fed doing a rate hike, and because mortgages going up through the moon. So we have a slow moving housing crash. We've obviously got a huge crash in the stock market that's going to keep going. It's going to keep going down. We have not hit the bottom. I do not think we've hit the bottom at all. We've got probably in stock market, I would say maybe another 20-30% to go at least. I mean, for people who are used to doing crypto stock markets, we're like, oh, okay. For people in the stock market, they're just going to be in shock. So I think because of what's happening in these different asset classes, and then because of what we have going on around the world with war, with different trade deals, with different sanctions, we're going to go lower. And I mean, we could go all the way down to 18,000. I was talking to someone today who thinks we're going to go back down to 3,000. I don't know about that. Maybe there could be a flash crash down to 10 or 12,000 in the next few months. I hope not, but I would think that would smart money not go in and buy. So I'm wondering if there's going to be more support. I would think there would be very strong support at around 18,000, because that was, what was that? It was right around September, October 2020, when we then broke out, and Bitcoin, right, it just absolutely took off from there. And yeah, of course it went through and sort of went through different levels of testing, but it eventually went to those all-time highs. So I could anticipate, I would say around 18,000, 18,500. And what happens if it were to go down to 10,000, or what this person I was talking to says down to 3,500 or so. I zoom out, I look at the Bitcoin halving that's coming in 2024. For me personally, I am going to just ride this out. I'm going to hold on, and I'm just looking at just doing very small amounts, DCAing in of what I can afford to lose, and that will sort of level out my position just on a handful of different crypto. And so that's what I'm looking at. I'm going to go more into Polyswarm. Someone was sharing with me, I'm going to research it, Polymath. So I'm curious to look at that. I just haven't done my due diligence on it yet. And then I'm just going to keep going Bitcoin, Ethereum, and I have quite a bit of Terraline. I'm probably just going to, for now, stick with Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then a little bit more of those sort of outlier ones, like I said, like the cyber security. So that's where I'm at today. And I look forward to hearing, what are you doing? What are your thoughts? Do you think the bottom is in? Do you think we're going lower? Or do you think things are about to take off? I'll be shocked if anyone here thinks that we're about to go in and go into a bull run anytime soon. I think that this is it. We're in the bear market, and it's gonna be, people are gonna get really, some people are gonna be really shaken out. And so if you are going to trade, please be extremely careful and do not leverage or margin trade. Do not borrow money to trade. Just be responsible. All right, I'm Joanna Garcetti. Thank you for being with me for this wild ride through crypto, and perhaps I will see you at the Crypto Tax Summit in Miami next week. Go to cryptotaxsummit.com, and I am sending you lots of love.